Welcome, Scorpio, to the month of September 2018. I'm Megan of North Star Astrology, and this is another general transits reading for those of you born with your sun, moon, and or rising signs in the 8th sign of Scorpio, the Scorpion. Hence the arrow depicting the scorpion's tail. Okay, and quickly, before I forget, I wanted to mention or add that at the end of your reading, I am providing a bonus reading with artwork that I found somewhat roughly on Googling it, but adding my own little twist, and then adding your positive characteristics and or attributes and negative characteristics and or traits to let go, and what your sign means and all that stuff. And I will be coloring it in with colored pencils. And month by month, I will finish it. So now, without further ado, let's get on with your reading. So on September 2nd at 5 hours 58 minutes, Mars, having been transiting your third house of communications, trines the moon, or makes a 120-degree flowing harmonious aspect, or 4 signs and 4 houses away to the moon in Taurus in your 7th house of others, versus the action planet Mars in your 3rd house in Capricorn. And so with this harmonious trine between Mars and the moon, your emotions will be very harmoniously spoken and or influenced and or even brought out in a most positively assertive way with your or within your relationships, especially with your marriage partner and or significant other. Then on the following day, September 3rd, the last quarter moon occurs in your 8th house in Gemini at 10 degrees Gemini, 34 minutes. And since this is your naturally residing house, it stands to reason that this is a good placement for the moon. Even though it's an air sign, it's almost like a spiritual coming home for you with this last quarter moon phase. Then on September 4th, Mercury in Leo in your 10th house of career sextiles the moon. I almost got the wrong one there. Okay, so a 60-degree, short but sweet, positive aspect between your moon and your 8th house, your 8th house, that is, because you naturally reside there again, and always. And however, since we're speaking of sun, moon, rising, you're on the 5th house of the self and body as well. So it's an interesting it's an interesting setup. Okay, so Mercury here in Leo sextile the moon. So from the 8th to the 10th houses, Mercury in the 10th house of career gives you the ability to speak clearly now that Mercury's not retrograde. And the sextile to the last quarter moon giving you somewhat of an intellectual edge, but in a very positive, like, good down-to-earth way. And then on September 6th, Saturn, which has been retrograde, and I forget when it started going retrograde, stations direct. So getting the retrograde out of there, and now Saturn in Capricorn stations direct in your third house of communications at 11 hours 10 minutes. Then too, on the same day as Saturn stationing direct, Mercury leaves your 10th house of career, leaving Leo and entering Virgo along with the Sun in Virgo. And that happens at 2 hours 40 minutes. And now, having Mercury in your 11th house of friendships along with the Sun in Virgo, you can approach things and friends. I mean, you can approach friends and or group events from a common sense standpoint and communicate as such. Then on September 8th at 13 hours 32 minutes, Venus sextiles the moon. Venus is over here in Libra in your 12th house of the subconscious mind. And the moon, 2 days later, enters Leo in your 10th house of career. So now there's this, once again, there's a lot of sextiles, by the way, coming up in the month of September. So the moon sextiling Venus in Libra, moon in Leo, Venus in Libra, where it's naturally comfortable. And however, in the Piscean house, giving it a spiritual flavor, moon in Leo in the Capricorn house. However, you've got Leo on the 10th house cusp with Leo sextile Venus. There is a positive ability to lovingly go within and tap into your subconscious mind and dreams and put that toward your career in some significant emotional way, even if it is just a 60-degree angle. Then on September 9th, the new moon occurs in your... the tags are getting tangled again. The new moon occurs in Virgo in your 11th house of friendships as well. And that happens at exactly 17 degrees. And which gives you the ability to form new friendships. Then, on the very same day, Venus leaves Libra and enters your sign, Scorpio, entering your first house of the self and body. And seeing as you're ruled by Pluto, and Venus and Jupiter are here in your sign this month, Venus going into your sign, gives you that ability to not only love yourself, but having others love you in return. It's going to be a really great month for you, and this gives you that perhaps a little bit of intensity, but we'll get to that. Then on September 10th at 15 hours 14 minutes, Mars trines the moon. Oh, wait, well, I guess since the moon is still coming toward the end of your 11th house, it's still in its new state. And since Mars is in Capricorn and the new moon is in Virgo, both earth signs, then it would be a very harmonious trine from the new moon to Mars, Mars trining moon, and so you will be able to communicate very effectively, seeing as Mercury is here, the new moon is here, and Mars is here. And it's almost like you will also be able to psychically tune in to group vibrations as well with this new moon, along with the fact that your ruling planet Pluto, however, is retrograde, and I'm not quite sure how that will affect you. However, having Mars here, and I believe Mars might be your sub-ruler, if I'm not mistaken. However, since this is a beautiful, harmonious trine from your 3rd to your 11th houses, you should have no problem at all communicating in such a profound way. And instead of being so withdrawn like you sometimes can be, or quiet, you tend to be quiet. Then on September 11th, Mars leaves Capricorn and enters Aquarius into your 4th house of the home. And that happens at 0 hours 57 minutes. And with this in mind, with Mars, the action planet, coming into your 4th house of the home, you will be really actively using a lot of electronics within your home base at this time, on that particular day. Then also on September 11th at 22 hours 59 minutes, Pluto, your ruling planet, squares the moon once the moon comes into or goes into Libra and the 12th house of the subconscious mind and dreams. So having this 90-degree square between your 12th house and your 3rd house, almost like a quadrant, like a quarter of the pie. So, and that, gives you that, it gives you the ability to intrinsically, naturally be maybe a little bit disturbed by your dreams or whatever your subconscious mind is trying to tell you, trying to warn you of, and I'm not really quite sure that would be. However, don't see it as a bad thing. It actually can be a good thing to pay attention to the symbolisms in your dreams and even write them down. Then, be sure to keep a pad and pen by your bedside. Then on July 12th, Jupiter in Scorpio, your sign of Scorpio, in your 1st house of the self and body, sextiles your ruling planet Pluto. So from your 1st to your 3rd houses, this will be a largely positive ability to express yourself intently and intensely. But since it's retrograde, I think you won't be as intense. It won't allow you to, it'll help soften your intensity, I think is what I'm seeing. Then on September 14th at 8:55, the sun sextiles the moon once the moon comes into your sign, Scorpio. And with this sun-moon sextile, you will feel a general sense of happiness. Isn't that awesome? And for the month of September, you will be feeling kind of more at ease, as it's an Earth month. It starts out being in Earth, which is harmonious for you as you're water, Earth and water, and we're gearing up toward the fall month, so that's really cool. Then on September 16th at 23 hours 16 minutes, the sun proceeds to square the moon. Once the moon goes into your second house of money and what you value. And with this moon in Sagittarius giving you sometimes a bit of flip-flopping with earning and spending too much, earning, but then recouping it and stuff. Squaring, though, the sun in your 11th house of friendships, sometimes you may be asking, some people may be asking to borrow money from their friends and may or may not be receiving it. That's all I can say. I don't know for sure. Then, also on September 16th, the moon goes into its first quarter toward the tail end of your second house. As I said, this is going into the first quarter at 24 degrees Sagittarius 2 minutes. So before this, directly following that square to the sun, the moon goes into its first quarter phase. And stemming from the new moon, I would say that you're taking new and first quarter strides to earning power. As said, I see Scorpio as a very powerful sign in its own right. Then on September 19th at 17 hours and 11 minutes, the sun trines the moon, since the sun is still in Virgo, and now the moon has come into your third house of communications in Capricorn, and now harmoniously trines. So now you can communicate once again in a most succinct way, perhaps, very emotional, but yet very harmonious, and anything that you may have had trouble with during the square irons out. And that's always good. Then on September 21st at 17 hours and 14 minutes, Jupiter squares the moon once the moon comes into your fourth house of the home in Aquarius. And now, with Jupiter in your sign in the first house of the self and body, squaring the moon in the home, the house of the home, you may have a big amount of emotional tensions, but this too shall pass. Then, on September 22nd, Mercury leaves your 11th house, leaving Virgo and entering Libra. So now you'll truly be able to tap in with this balanced mental state you'll be having once Mercury enters Libra. And that happens at 3 hours and 41 minutes. And then the following day, the sun follows suit and leaves Virgo, entering Libra also into your 12th house of the subconscious mind. That happens at 1:55, 1 hour and 55 minutes into the day of September 23rd. Then the following day, on September 24th at 5:27, Jupiter trines the moon. Once the moon goes into your 5th house of romance and creativity, joining along with Neptune in Pisces. And isn't this beautiful? Jupiter in your sign is Scorpio, in your 1st house of the self and body. You will possibly form a new, well, that would have been with the new moon. However, you could possibly be very romantic at this time, and it's going to be, you're going to be lovingly harmonious and very romantic, big time, with the trine from the largest planet of Jupiter in your sign, trining the moon in Pisces. And it will have some spiritual overtones even. It will be beautiful. Then, on September 25th, the full moon occurs at 1 degree Aries, 60 minutes. And now that the sun is in Libra, now the opposite sign is Aries. And you will be able to highlight what it is that may be needing attention at work with that full moon. Then on September 26th, Pluto squares the moon. Pluto, your ruling planet, squares the full moon. So from the 3rd house to the 6th houses, that happens at 10:29. Pluto squaring the full moon. Then 2 days later, on September 28th at 22 hours and 37 minutes, Jupiter opposes the moon. Once the moon comes full circle into your 7th house of relationships in Taurus and opposes Jupiter in your sign, in your 1st house. So, with all of that said and done, I hope you enjoyed watching and listening to this awesome reading. I had fun with it, even though there are at times it's kind of like, oh. Okay. So, getting down to it here. I hope you can see this as the light is going down. Let me turn this light on over here. I don't know if that'll help. Oh boy. Here, this might help. Okay, Scorpio. There's your glyph, the scorpion's tail. The scorpion. Scorpio the scorpion. Your quality is fixed, just like I wrote out right over here. And your element is water. Your ruling planet is Pluto. Your glyph is the scorpion's tail and its sting. The ruler of you're the ruler of the 8th house, as I pointed out earlier in the reading, and your opposite sun sign is Taurus. Your anatomy is that you rule the genital area, the bladder, the rectum, and the reproductive organs. Your key phrase is, I desire. Hence the sting. Woo, you desire. And what is it that you desire? Well, I've been taught, a good friend of mine, a longtime friend of mine taught me that the word desire comes from the Father, meaning of the source, of the Father, God as you see it or believe it. And so your desire comes from a higher source. Positive, and it can also come from just the mundane physical level too. Here are your positive characteristics and or attributes. You are motivated. I can barely even read my own handwriting. You are motivated, penetrating, executive, resourceful, determined, scientific, investigative, probing, passionate, and aware. Your negative characteristics and or traits to let go are that you can be sometimes vengeful, temperamental, secretive, overbearing, violent, sarcastic, suspicious, jealous, and intolerant. Hence the fixed nature of your sign. So these are the traits to let go. And if not, try to balance them if you can't seem to let them go at this time. And that's what this whole point of astrology readings is about. It's about taking care of yourself on all levels, mind, body, and soul. Hence the dot in the center of the sun that stands for your soul or your spirit or whatever. Okay, I'm going to use red orange from my coloring pencils. Now, I saw on Google some beautiful photographs of what lobsters look like, and the scorpion somewhat resembles lobsters, and yet it's not. It's anything but that. You prefer dry, arid, dark, but not murky waters or anything, you know. You prefer hiding under a log and things like that, you know, and or hiding under a rock and staying out of the blazing hot sun. But I saw the most gorgeous photos, unfortunately, of caught, already kind of on their way to dead lobsters that were almost like gorgeous aquamarine blue and green and all kinds of beautiful colors. And I'm not really quite sure, oh, that's my dog drinking her water. I'm not really quite sure what colors I should attribute a scorpion to. Most all are brown or something. Like a, not really quite sure. I'd like to be able to read up on exactly what is their, oh sorry, I just colored out of the lines. Oh my gosh. Anyway, I'm also wanting to show you too, look at, this is the constellation of Scorpio. There's 4 stars in a row here that are sort of curved, and these stars make up the back side, the tail end, and then this string of stars makes up the tail, and it ends there just before it gets to the stinger. And I'm not quite sure where or what it's connected to constellation wise, but I do know that each one of the sun signs has a beautiful story to tell, you know? And so, oh, that's my that's my pointer. At any rate, I just wanted to share this with you because I think it's really neat that I can at least share with you some of my artwork, my longhand versus my shorthand, or just some of the artwork just for you and your sign. And gee, I made this so basic I don't even know where the eyes and mouth are on this. But I think I liked doing the claws and the tail the most. Or I mean the stinger the most. And also the tail. It kind of reminds me of, like it says over here, well actually it's the bladder. But one of the other signs deals with the intestinal tract, and it does kind of remind me of an intestinal tract, though it's not, and you don't govern that. In ancient times, doctors would actually do your astrology chart or understand you from a bodily standpoint according to your rising or ascendant sign, your sun sign, and your moon sign, and be able to not just only diagnose, but take care of the body homeopathically. Isn't that really cool? And I really believe that most doctors should get back to that. I think that would be so cool, because it would give not only the patient a better understanding to take care of themselves on their own time, but also the doctor would be able to know what to do and what not to do. This is only roughly colored in, but next month, in the month of October, I will do a little bit and a little bit and a little bit each following subsequent month. Hi, Gretel. My dog is lovingly staring up at me. Hi, sweetie. Yeah, you're being a good girl, but then you're always good, honey. Yes, you are. Anywho, I don't know what to color the rest of it, but I will do the best I can to figure out what it is, how it is I should color it. I don't know. So, aww, there she is. So, with that, I want to thank you for watching this whole bonus part of the reading. I want to thank you for whoever it is that has subscribed. Feel free to like, comment down below, subscribe, and thank you for looking up upon the North Star. And so, Scorpio the Scorpion, take care. Bye.